What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Kid Walls coming at you back again with another video. And in this video, we're gonna be discussing a controversial subject. Now, have you ever wondered how a player ever becomes branded the greatest player of all time? Have you ever thought of why people consider Michael Jordan the GOAT? In this video, we're gonna be discussing what it takes to be considered the GOAT. Let's go. Now, in my opinion, the first thing to consider when branding someone the GOAT is to look at how many rings they've won. And although rings don't just make a player better than another, it does when it comes to a legacy, or at least the media thinks so. Now, Michael Jordan has pure skill, and there's no denying that. But 6 rings? This marks him as the greatest player of all time in the eyes of most fans. Bill Russell wouldn't even be in history books if it weren't for his 11 rings. Kareem, Magic. They're all greats, and their rings submit that. Now, great players such as Elgin, Baylor, Karl Malone, AI, Stockton, and Barkley aren't ranked that high in all-time ranks, mostly due to the shortage of a ring. Now, the second thing to look forward to when you consider a player the GOAT is their offensive scoring ability. And Michael Jordan, who's considered the GOAT, is arguably the greatest scorer of all time, being the all-time leader in points per game with 30.1 points per game. Now, Wilt Chamberlain, on the other hand, is the most dominant scorer of all time, having just 0.02 less points per game than Jordan. And as we all know, scoring is an exciting part of the game, and fans do not like to see anything more than scoring. Now, Kobe is fun to watch when it comes to his scoring ability, and this is why some fans might put him high in the all-time ranks. Now, if Bill Russell has an offensive game, he would be most likely considered the GOAT. Now, in my opinion, the third thing is the leadership and ability to make other players better. Basketball is a team sport. The best example of this category is Magic Johnson, and of course, LeBron James is another good example as well. Your ability to lead your team to the finals gives you a good reputation by your teammates and by the fans. Michael Jordan is also a good example, and of course, John Stockton and most elite point guards. Another thing that matters is a player's clutch moments. Now, players such as Robert Horry would never be known if it weren't for the clutch moments. It makes a player more respectable and popular. Now, Jordan, as we know, in the most of eyes, is considered the greatest of all time. Is also arguably the most clutch player of all time. And we all have to admit that Kobe Bryant would not nearly have as much respect if it weren't for his dozen of game winners. Now, most all-time greats have clutch moments such as LeBron, and being non-clutch will definitely affect your legacy in a negative way. Now, of course, we all know a player cannot be great without a great stat line. Wilt is statistically the greatest player of all time, putting him in almost everyone's top 5. Jordan's stat line is also amusing as well, and you cannot debate on who's a better player without the argument of using their stats. Now, sometimes stats aren't always the story, but of course, they sure do dignify skill. Now, what makes you to be considered the GOAT is also shining through your era. Anyways, succeeding in a hard era is key. Now, players such as Wilt Chamberlain's legacy have a stain because some people think they played in an easy era of basketball. Now, Jordan, the GOAT in most fans' eyes, shined in the golden age of basketball, while players as Kobe, Tim Duncan, Shaq all shine in one of the toughest eras. And we could argue that LeBron is also shining in one of the toughest eras. But it doesn't exactly make a player better than the other, but it makes a player seem worse than the stats say. And of course, NBA players' legacy can be submitted by just one amazing play. For example, LeBron's famous chase down block to win the 2016 finals submitted him higher with the all-time greats. Jordan had the most memorable play of all time in the shot to win Game 6 of the 1997 finals, which happened to be his last play. Magic had the baby hook and Bird's famous steal to win the conference finals. Shaq's famous alley-oop to seal the deal in the Western Conference Final, and Kobe's play against the Phoenix Suns Tracy McGrady built upon a legacy with his famous 13 seconds and 33 seconds play, and Reggie Miller's 8 points in 9 seconds. Players like Derek Fisher would not be known if it weren't for his 4-second shot. It makes a player more memorable and cements their legacy. Players like Kareem never had a play to be remembered by, but he still makes it up with his skyhook. Now, of course, the playoffs is the best time of the year. The playoffs can make or break a player's reputation as the GOAT. Now, Michael Jordan is considered to most as the greatest playoff performer of all time, and we all know his rankings on the all-time list. LeBron James is another example, always playing godlike in the playoffs. Superstars are expected to step it off in the playoffs, and if they do, on an extreme level, their status on the all-time great list will cement itself higher. Superstars who do not meet these expectations in the playoffs give them a horrible reputation. Now, stepping up in the playoffs is key to becoming the GOAT. Of course, the ability to dominate over your competition is key in being considered the GOAT. Now, fans thrive when a player just completely dominates their opponents and just own them. It gives them the sense that you're the top dog and you cannot be stopped. Now, players such as Wilt Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal's dominance put them in high all-time ranks. Also, Michael Jordan, also LeBron can be put into this category of dominating over their competition. Another thing I believe is key when being considered the GOAT is your mentality. Now, you may be asking, what's mentality? Mentality is the will to become the greatest, the guts to take every game winner you can as possible, the will to become a better player, the love of the sport. Now, Michael Jordan had mentality, making him a fierce competitor. Kevin Garnett is the most hard-working player of all time, in my opinion, and Kobe Bryant is known for, of course, as we all know, the Mamba mentality. Now, mentality makes a player seem like they just want to be the greatest, and they'll work to be the greatest. As we all know, defense is a most important part of basketball. Defense wins championships. Superstars without elite defense like AI aren't as successful as to say if they did. Average players can make an all-NBA team if they had elite defense. Players such as Ben Wallace and Dikembe Mutombo. Now, elite defense can turn into more points as well, and it doesn't hurt to add a couple blocks per game and steals per game on the stat sheet. Players made a legacy out of extraordinary defense. Every top 10 to 15 player of all time has great defense. Michael Jordan, Kareem, Wilt, Magic, LeBron, Hakeem, Bird, Duncan. You get the point. All elite defenders, especially Hakeem and Tim Duncan. Consistency is also key. And why is this important? Well, not only does it look better on the points per game stat sheet, but it shows that you are consistent and that you have pure skill. Michael Jordan came out as a 26 point per game scorer before making history in his third year with 37 points per game. Kareem's third year was, in my opinion, the greatest all-around MVP season of all time, and Wilt's third year was just a jaw-dropping 50 points per game. LeBron James had his best years arguably in his early years, and Magic led his team to win the finals as a rookie. Something super important to the fans, which makes them consider you the GOAT, is not choking. Now, what makes someone the GOAT in most eyes is erasing the thought that they ever choked in a big game. LeBron James' 2011 Finals meltdown may forever affect his place as the greatest, and Curry's legacy will forever be stained after underperforming and choking a 3-1 lead. It just simply stains your legacy and makes you seem human. Fans want to believe that the greatest is invincible, someone who cannot be stopped by another competitor. You need to accomplish a ton in order to be considered the GOAT. You need rings to officially submit to your legacy. You need offensive and defensive abilities. You need a great resume, clutch moments, a memorable play. You need to step it up in the playoffs, great stats, shine in a respectable era, leadership, mentality, and pure dominance over your opponents. In my opinion, I'm going to say this again. In my opinion, I think the GOATs should be considered between Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant. but I could understand why people place Michael Jordan as number one. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to drop a comment who you think is the GOAT. If you're new, make sure to smash the subscribe button, join the Wild crew. You already know what it do. Make sure to leave a like if you like this video, share, turn on notifications. It's your boy G.O.A.T, and we out.